Video. Welcome to Webinar 12 as part of global series conducted by Chinmaya Vishwa deemed university to bring in global academic discourses on various realms of knowledge and in a career perspective as well. I am Pramod Dinakar, Assistant Professor of Education at the Chinmaya Vishwa the moderator for this particular event. I welcome you all for this August academic discourse. Today, we are having a global series talk specifically on the recommendations of the National Education Policy, which has completed its first year of enactment. We have a veteran educationist and a much acclaimed expert in the field, Professor Radha Mohan, to take you through the important recommendations and suggestions of the National Education Policy 2020 in her global series talk titled Recent Developments in the Field of Education, NEP 2020. Before the talk, let me introduce the speaker very briefly. She has a very vast profile, but let me not take much time, but I will keep the introduction very short. Professor Dr. Radha Mohan has more than 35 years of experience in teacher education. She has undertaken various academic and administrative roles and responsibilities through her career. I will mention a few of them. Principal of Colleges of Teacher Education, Head of Department and Head of School in University, Curriculum Expert and Board of Studies member in multiple institutions, IQAC Coordinator, Head of Research Wing, NCTE and NAC peer team member, question paper for various national agencies, research supervisor who has guided more than 10 scholars, well-published as well as well-referenced author of more than a dozen books. Most of them are textbooks and reference books in various universities. She acted as chief editor and editorial board member of various academic journals, book reviewer, whatnot. Recently, she wrote her ideas on National Education Policy 2020 in the much acclaimed Springer publication platform, and the present talk is supplementary to that. Even after having achieved laurels in education, she is still constantly trying to update her knowledge and upskill her competencies by being a continuous learner. She is, as far as I know, currently pursuing at least 2 courses of study and as well as undertaking research projects. This is the true sense of being a lifelong learner. She is not only a great academician, but also a genuine human being with a big heart. She likes to nurture her plants and flowers in her garden and considers them as her own children. Radhaji is currently the jewel in the crown of Education Department of Chinmaya Vishwa by being its founder, head of department, and professor of education. With privilege, let me invite Professor Radha Mohan to take the stage. Radhaji, please, over to you.
Thank you, Pramod, for those wonderful, kind words. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Hari Om. It is a great pleasure to be amongst people who are interested in knowing about the NEP. Now, as you all know, I'll just share the screen. Let me move it. So as we all know, they have the past year has been absolutely, what shall I say, terrific in various ways. We have done nothing but talk about 2 major events in our lives. And I'm sure all of you know it. One was COVID-19, the onslaught of it, the taking of the jabs, how many survived, what happened, etc. So we have spent about 19 months discussing COVID. The other thing that we have discussed has been NEP 2020. So any TV channel that you may look into, any TV channel, whether it is NDTV or your local Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu channel, you will find there's always an NEP 2020 discussion going on. You'll have a panel of experts, panel of parents, panel of teachers, students, all of them giving their views. So this is just looking into the whole thing in a nutshell, 1 year down the lane. My focus will be totally on teacher education and school education because that is the realm of my studies. I have been a school teacher and I have also been a teacher educator. So this NEP, how does it affect us? That is going to be the focus of this talk. Now, looking into our next slide, the overview here would be what exactly is the NEP 2020? All of us have been talking about it endlessly, in fact. So, what exactly is it? And what is the rationale for introducing this NEP into our country? Why was the need for it at all? Implications for schools. How does it affect us, school teachers? Suggestions for teacher education. How does it affect us, teacher educators too? And what is the way forward? So this is going to be the realm of my talk. Now, what is the need for it? Now, when you look at it, as Pramod mentioned, Springer had chosen me to write a review of the research done in teacher education in India. So that set me thinking, and I have been working on it tirelessly. And looking through the global research in teacher education, it looked as though a lot of steps had to be taken to reform teacher education in India. And that we don't need research. We know it by, common sense tells us. Now, why do we need these changes? One is to accelerate economic growth. Now we are very fast, we are moving right up. We are neck to neck with China, and our global presence is being felt all over. Anywhere you go, you're respected now as an Indian. So we have to accelerate the economic growth. We have to tap the unique strength of our demographic variations. And we have to also provide our young population with gainful employment. Now, as many of you know, India has the largest young population in the world. And that means in the future, say another 10 years down the lane, we will have to have livelihood education for them. And we should be able to give them gainful employment. So that should be the focus of our changes. So the changes that we bring about in our schools and colleges should be such as to facilitate economic growth, cater to the unique strength of our demographic variables, and also give employment to our young population, our sons, grandsons, and so on. So the National Education Policy 2020 replaces the 34-year-old policy 1986. And when we look at the old policy, we found that the stress was on education. You have a whole team of engineers, doctors, the focus was on that. But now with globalization, there is a necessity for a course correction. There is a need for us to look into ourselves and see what are the skills that we need so that our children are able to survive in the future. They should have the correct skills. They should be able to get fruitfully employed. They should be happy individuals too. So that is the focus of NEP 2020. Now, looking again into NEP 2020, we've got to think of the 4 basic skills. Right through the document, you will find the focus has been on the 4 C's. It is for basically critical thinking. Now, critical thinking is something that we have to promote amongst not only youngsters, among all of us too. For example, when we look at a Facebook page, we should be able to think rationally about it. Is this the actual thing? Is it fake news? We should be able to analyze and be able to come to some kind of a logical conclusion. We should know the ground realities. Now, so far, our education has been mainly rote learning. We mugged up things, got gold medals, and we came along. But that doesn't work anymore. We have to learn to analyze things, to think critically, weigh the pros and cons, and come to a kind of a conclusion. And this kind of thinking has to be fostered right from childhood. It's not something that you get overnight. You'll have to start thinking about it right from the KG on so that they are able to think for themselves, make the right decisions. Next C would be creativity. Now, creativity is something which we have to foster and enhance in our children, in our schools, as well as our colleges. Now, you find that we are an extremely creative nation. If you look at the number of apps that are even school children are producing, it is amazing actually. So they're able to think differently. They're able to come up with devices that are going to solve our problems. So creativity has to be fostered, and we have to give them opportunities in schools as well as in higher education, so that they're able to think critically as well as to use their creativity for positive results. Communication, the third C. Now, communication is something, it does not mean just talking endlessly. It means a whole lot of things. You interact with people, you listen to them, and you respond to them. It requires a whole lot of skills, empathy, requiring listening skills to be able to articulate properly, and to develop a rapport. And once again, this has to start in school. And in today's world of digital platforms, online learning, there is not much scope perhaps for communication. You are not able to form groups, chat, and maybe on WhatsApp and video conferencing. But that is a different ball game altogether. To sit down and to talk and to be able to be in tune with another person is something we have to teach our youngsters. And from school right up to higher education till they go for jobs, because the objective of NEP 2020 is to improve employability of our young population. We are the largest young population in the world, and we cannot have people sitting around wasting time getting into drugs and negative activities. Collaboration. Now, collaboration is something that we are seeing a great deal of. We have a lot of startups coming up in higher education, and even school children are devising apps that for which they are getting Microsoft, collaboration. So that is a big type of collaboration. Now, small type is in schools and colleges. The students should be able to collaborate with each other. It should be not competitive. It should be more collaborative. So they should be in tune with each other, be willing to help each other, be able to have a good, team spirit, and have a positive attitude to life in general. So these are the four C's: critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration. And these have to be fostered right from childhood. It starts at home, of course, it continues in school, and it continues in higher education right through life. So the overarching goal of NEP is harnessing human resources, the teacher and the taught. So education policy, which means the main players are going to be the teachers and the taught. So we have to see that we make optimum utilization of the teacher as well as the students who are being taught. And they should also be taught life skills, which forms a very key part of most schools and colleges, especially teacher education. It forms a base of it. Digital literacy, which we all know, as parents, teachers, students, we've been stuck with digital literacy. We've had to, catapult into learning how to get onto platforms, get into Moodle, get out of it, what to do when you're stuck. So all these, they have to be skilled at that. And employment fitness. And we have to transform India into a vibrant knowledge society and a global knowledge superpower. We are getting there, but we need to work on it so that it has to be a uniform effort. Everyone goes with it. And for this, we have to make school and college education more holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. So these are the key goals of the NEP 2020. Now, how are we to do this? How do we go about achieving these goals, which may seem rather tough? So, as a parent, as a teacher, as a senior in a school, anywhere you are in life, we have to be able to recognize that each one of us is unique. You should be able to identify the strengths of that child or the person you are interacting with. Now, if you're a teacher, you're going to do it for a school student. If you're an employer, you should be able to recognize and identify the strengths of that person, foster it so that he's employment ready. And that employment readiness should come in higher education. So it starts with school once again, where you are, say you have a talent for painting. If your first standard teacher is able to recognize it, right through, she will be able to, foster that and see that by the time you are in the 10th, you have honed your skills. Perhaps you're ready to do a course in architecture. Perhaps you could become an artist. Similarly, for other skills. So, that is the job of the teacher to recognize, identify, and foster the unique capabilities of each and every learner with whom we come in contact. It does not necessarily mean in school. You may be just seeing a boy in a hotel who's working. You might just have a little chat with him and find out that he has some skills. And so you would be able to foster and help him to get on. So yesterday I had a maid who worked for me, and just when passing, she told me that she had passed her 12th standard. She had got 910 or something, and physics, chemistry, maths, biology. And it was her aim to be an Anganwadi teacher. So I was able to just tell her what to do about it. As little as I know, I told her, you do this and that. So, that sort of thing. You have to foster the capabilities. They may not be aware of it. And in order to do this, this is something that we old timers have to learn. We have been, programmed into thinking that medicine, professional courses are medicine, or you get into engineering, or you do, physics or chemistry, maths, you do these sort of things. And if you take history or you do perhaps geography, you're not so great. So that is a very kind of a tunnel vision kind of situation. So we should have no hard distinctions between humanities, sciences, between any discipline actually. We should be open to vocational learning. We should have sports in our life. We should have arts, and we should put it as a whole. So the whole thing, education has humanity, science, all these things, sports, arts, vocational learning, plus life learning. Now, this session focuses mainly, as I told you in the beginning, on school education and teacher education. So let's start with the school. So this aspires to achieve multifold increase in GER by 2030. So now if you look at the GER in various states, some ranges from 50, some are 70%, but NEP 2020 aims to make it 100%. It is a tall aim, but I'm sure by hard work we would be able to reach that goal. So now how do we do this? We have to restructure school education, starting right from preschool to secondary level, and we have to take along with us open schooling, ensuring equity and inclusion. Now, as many of you know, open schooling is what is the government runs, and it is for those who drop out, who are not able to cope, who have other responsibilities at home perhaps. So you give them an opportunity to learn and come to the same level as the others going through the regular stream. So NEP, the primary aim of NEP is to bring the 2 crore children who are out of school back into the mainstream. Now, I'm sure you have seen children like this, children who have been repairing in the repair shop. You have seen children, in the, what do you call these places? Granite and all. Those kind of places, you find them breaking the stones. You find them in hotels. You find them in shoe polishing, carrying loads, doing any number of things, but they're not in school. So the aim of this NEP 2020 is to bring back these children who have been left out back into the mainstream. And how are we going to do this? So the NEP plans to, it has changed the education system from 10 plus 2 to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 school curriculum. So the first 3 years will be spent in the Anganwadi, which is our, I suppose, lower KG, the usual things we have. So 3 years you spend there for all children in the Anganwadi. And after that, you get into this 12 years of schooling. And the great thing about this is in many parts of India, I think it was in Trinelveli or somewhere, the district collector of a small place there has put her child into the Anganwadi. And considering that she has been convent educated, IAS rank holder and all, and she says her child is very happy, 3 years of Anganwadi, and then she will be joining a government school. So this is the change that we are seeing. This is bringing about rapport, bringing about understanding of our ground realities, as it were. And the NEP focuses on functional, foundational literacy and numeracy. No rigid separation between academic streams. And they have a lot of extracurricular activities. They have vocational streams in schools. And from the sixth standard onwards, you start vocational education, like in carpentry, plumbing, and so on, with internship. So this way, children who get who have some kind of a backdrop to fall back on. They don't necessarily have to be sitting in the queries. They might be able to join a carpentry shop. They might be able to do other things when they grow up. So the new thing of 10 plus 2 has been made into 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. We have 3 years of Anganwadi, where you have Anganwadi teachers and Anganwadi ayahs. And the focus will be on foundational literacy and numeracy, and with no separation between the various subjects. Now, this was necessary because when you look at it, I don't know how it is. In Tamil Nadu, when you go to the rural areas, in very many places, you find they automatically pass till the fifth standard. And they are unable to even write anything or read anything. So, which shows that the foundational literacy and numeracy was not done properly. So, this NEP focuses on ensuring that every child is literate, every child can add, and is able to do a whole lot of other things. And till the fifth standard, the teaching is to be in mother tongue or regional language. And this is very important. And I think many of you will realize that, if you look at all the what shall I say, the youngsters who have learned in their mother tongue, they're absolutely creative. They have understood the concepts of whether it is physics or whatever, maths. They have understood the concept. They may not be able to speak English, but they know the concept clear as crystal. So the focus should be on seeing that the concepts are got right. And for that foundation to be strong, the stress has been on teaching in mother tongue or regional language till the fifth standard. And this assessment reforms is going to be a 360-degree process, keeping track of the child every day, learning outcomes. How has he done, he or she has done. Now, this is still under progress. NCERT is working on it, and I think soon we should have access to how exactly this is going to be done. So the focus is on mother tongue and no foundational literacy and numeracy, no divisions between the various humanities, etc. And every child gets a chance to go to school. Major takeaways are universalization of education with 100% GER in 2030. We are in 2021, 9 years to go. Again, it brings back the children, the 2 crore children who are out of school. It might be even more, put them back into the mainstream. And you change the curriculum from 10 plus 2 to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. And there is no separation between the various streams. Vocational is compulsory till standard class 6 with internship, and mother tongue is the language of learning. So this is in a nutshell school education. Now, what happens to that child who gets into the Anganwadi and comes out 8th standard? Now, as I said in the beginning, globalization is our aim. The child should be equipped from school onwards till higher education so that he's employment ready. He should also have enough skills to be able to interact with others. He should have developed certain critical thinking. He should be able to collaborate. He should be creative. So all these things have to start from ground zero. So you find that at the end of this schooling, the curriculum is simple. He does not have to carry that big bag. There was a talk in, I think, Parliament about 30 years ago. Children are carrying big suitcases to school. So now it's not so. They have lesser number of books. They have fun activities. This beginning was made before Sarvat Siksha Abhiyan, and it would continue, and you will have a lot more activity there. a good grasp of their mother tongue. So they will be able to interact with each other, plus understand what's going on in the class. And they will respect unity in diversity with no exam fear. So all this helps them to develop soft skills, tech skills, humane values, and competencies. Now, humane values and competencies plus diversity, accepting people are different. These are the main things that will be stressed till the 8th standard. No mugging. So there is no rote learning for any level of schooling. Now, once a child has passed the 8th standard, he should hopefully be more adaptive. He should have received his vocational training because 6th standard he would have got it. He would have better health. Anganwadi onwards, he'll be given good nutrition, good food. He'll know how to go about things. He should know, besides his mother tongue, he should know one other Indian language. You have various states having 3 language formulas, others having 2 language formulas. He should know one foreign language. It may be English, it may be French if you're in Pondicherry, or it may be Portuguese if you're elsewhere. So it goes on like that. And he should have a good basic knowledge of Indian culture, heritage, and our heroes. So this is what should happen when he passes out of the 8th standard and gets into the 12th. So between 9, 10, 11, 12, he should be vocationally trained. He would have been trained. He would have an understanding of other cultures. He would know more than one Indian language. He would have good health, and he will be slightly more emotionally mature. So because the soft skills, tech skills that he learned till the 8th, they are being honed further. So he will have opportunities to become a more emotionally mature person. Now, the Times of India, March 2020, gave a list of the skills for the children for jobs that are not there yet. So we do not know, as we all know, I know that I was not prepared to be taking a talk like this on webinar. I'm so used to talking in person, walking around and, you know, building a rapport. Now here it is such an anonymous kind of a thing. So this is some skill I had to learn. So now I did not think that when I became a teacher, I would have to do this. So this was the future for me. Now these children who are under our care have to be prepared for jobs, and we do not know what their future jobs are. We haven't a clue. Knowledge is exploding every day. Things are being discovered, new apps, new software, and name it, and you're doing something different every day. So we have to teach them enough soft skills so that they can, you know, interact. First, speaking the image that you present and the words that you speak are what are going to make the difference. So soft skills are definitely a vital thing. It should be not necessarily in English. They should learn how to communicate, how to be pleasant, how to take feedback, etc. Now, teaching students to celebrate failure. Now, failures are the stepping stones to success. That's something we all know. Now, but you find, especially last year with the COVID pandemic, I found a lot of news items. I think in several schools in the north, children were playing games, video games endlessly. And if they failed to reach the end, they would either commit suicide or shoot their parent. I don't know why parents keep guns at home, but this is how it is. They don't have the emotional maturity to deal with a simple failure of a pogo game or whatever it is called. Similarly, children who fail or do not do well in the 10th standard, they should be taught to be prepared to accept failure. So you have to build up their inner strength, inner emotional maturity, so that you are able to handle it. You should be able to know how to go about life. So this is something I think parents should definitely teach their children, and teachers should also ensure that students are able to cope. Success or failure, they should be having a, you know, uh, what shall I say, a plateau kind of acceptance. And exploring developing technologies, as all of us know that there every day new things are being found. So we should be able to keep abreast with it. Our students, they should be able to know how to go about it, for which you need them to be creative, you need them to be collaborative, you need them to have the 4 C's. Then bringing experiential learning to the forefront. Now, bringing experiential learning to the forefront would imply that they have a lot of hands-on, not just rote learning and sitting in class and talking, but they should be given opportunities to develop skills. So for our children in our classrooms to be job ready, they need to develop soft skills. They should be emotionally mature. They should know how to deal with new technologies, and they should be able to experiment. So in general, education, all levels, consists of sports. Now we have all been watching the Olympics and we have cheered. Many have even not watched the cricket match. We're so enthused about the Olympics. Arts. This is the year of arts integration in the CBSE syllabus in teaching. So arts is something students should be encouraged to pursue. It need not necessarily be painting, it could be music, it could be anything, rangoli, any kind of thing. Theatre. Now we need to, this is important. Many Bombay schools, or one or two in Chennai, Chettinad Vidyashram, for example, they have theatre. So theatre has one big plus point. It gets rid of inhibitions in children. They learn to communicate, they learn to speak up, they learn to remember things, and they have fun. So every year, this particular school, Chettinad Vidyashram, hosts a program in December, which is completely managed by the students. It is a full play of 3 hours, and the children learn to communicate. They do it all themselves. And community involvement. Community involvement, Seva, is a prime thing in schools and in colleges. We have NSS. In Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth, we have Seva. One of our faculty members, Dr. Bindu, has adopted a village, and most of the students who are in it are involved in various aspects of the growth of the village. They teach the village women, they teach them various things. A lot of things are going on there. So like that, our schools and colleges must encourage community learning, theatre workshops, arts, sports. Now, this is a simple case study, and many of us might be thinking this just exists in the dream. This is a school, Tattva Learning Center in Kochi, Kerala. And some time ago, we had an interactive session with Mrs. Maya Mohan and Mrs. Leela KM, principal, both of them president awardees for Best Teacher Award, Best Principal Award, etc. Maya Mohan's mother started the learning center, and of which now Maya Mohan is the director, managing director. And in this, she caters to all kinds of children, whether they are open schooling, whether they have dropped out, whether they are special cases, whether they are, it is absolutely inclusive. And the board of examination is CBSE, International Board, plus open learning. So this school, Tattva Learning Center, has alternate schooling with innovative curriculum, and it is individualized teaching to cater to every child in her school. Holistic all-round development. They have excellent sports facilities, they have theater, they do all these things. And they have a lot of activities wherein they are able to display their talents. And the teachers are amazing. They are empathetic, caring, and loving. And each child feels that he is the special one, he or she is the special one. So this Tattva Learning Center was started long before the NEP 2020. So obviously they were aware of the problems facing us, and they have started this. Many of the children have gone on to do great things. So I think this is the future. Now, gender sensitivity. This is something that NEP stresses on. And I don't know how many of you have been teachers in the NCERT. There were books that came into a lot of trouble with this issue. And you would find certain books, I don't remember the subjects, many of them it was always the mother cooking and the father sitting on an easy chair reading the newspaper. Why is it the mother has to cook all the time? It shows that the sensitivity may be lacking. So then they changed the textbooks. They got better diagrams and illustrations put. So as to foster gender sensitivity from a young age. So from a young age, we have to think of strategies so that we have an equitable society for both boys and girls. Both are equal. I have two daughters and I treat them like my sons. So I'm very happy about that. Maybe because I don't have sons. I don't know whether I'm gender sensitive or not. But anyway, we have to be gender sensitive. So teacher education, both pre-service and in-service, has to keep this in mind. So when we, for example, when you are in class, as if many of you are teachers, does it happen that you often ask the boy first? You answer, Avinash, instead of maybe Kirtika, who has raised her hand first. So little things like that. Or stand in lines, we clap our hands, boys this side, and then we say, girls, go and stand that side. Or, simple, very simple strategies. We have to sort of, monitor ourselves so that we don't have any kind of bias in place. Gender equality is one of the key things which NEP has mentioned. So, any of you would like to give your views on this? You can open the chat box if you want. Any views on how to promote gender parity? No?
Ma'am, I think we can take that later because as of now, the chat box is closed. So
okay, fine.
We can take that discussion maybe after your talk, ma'am.
Okay, now we come along. That's fine. That's good. Then we can, so
Right.
that we finish on time too.
Right.
Next is higher education. Higher education is Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth, other universities are like this, and many of these things are followed in our university. We have flexibility of subjects. That is one of the things, so that a student has an option of taking different things. For example, in my days, if you took physics, you had to take chemistry and maths. But I think if I did physics today, I would take, instead of chemistry, I take psychology. I do physics, psychology, and maths. That would have suited me better. But I didn't have that option. But nowadays, you would be having this option. Multiple entry, you can leave and exit. If you, for example, if you are doing a 4-year course, first year course, you can learn the skills. Say you're doing BVOC, and in that you have done ticketing, etc. in the first year, you get a certificate, go out and work for a while, and then you come back and join with that certificate to the second year again. So you can come and go. Similarly, you have a bank of credits which you can transfer. So this is a very useful thing. You can build up a bank, and when you go bank of credits, and supposing you want to go abroad, you can transfer the credits and do a course there. Of course, they should accept that the equivalence of it, but the facility is there. Then extensive use of technology with equity that we have seen this whole COVID year. National Research Foundation, which is still under, they are doing it, they're fostering it and starting the research culture. And again, this is under creation, as it were, gender inclusion fund and special zones. An affiliation system for now colleges are affiliated to universities. The NEP wants to remove that and give all the colleges autonomy, graded autonomy. So which is why we have NAC, UGC, etc. And they also want to promote ancient Indian languages, Pali, Persian, and Prakrit. And there are a lot of institutes, the IITs have taken this on as a big project. Now, when the student finishes higher education, once again, we don't have the exact, job description of what the future holds. So the student who has passed his BA or BSc or BA, BEd, BCom, whatever, he should, besides creativity, collaboration, and emotional intelligence, he should also be having the skills of persuasion as well as adaptability. Because many a time what happens is the skills that we have may not be exactly tailor-made to suit the job in question. So if we have this quality of adaptability, which we should have developed through our schooling and higher education, we should be able to mold ourselves into the job which is going to arise. Similarly, persuasion. Now they say gift of gab. Now, definitely, you should be able to persuade someone at the end of your higher education that you are the right person for the job. You have all the skills, and you would be able to fit in and carry out whatever is required. So, this is what has to be ensured at the end of higher education. Education policy is, again, as far as we go, teacher educators, they are coming out with a new framework, national curriculum framework, teacher education 2021, and it is to be formulated by ncte in collaboration, in consultation with ncert. Now we are in that tricky wicket, teacher education. We are in higher education, but we have one foot also in the schools. So what happens is teacher education is at the nexus between schools and universities. So it is going to affect us in the sense that we have to change our theory, we have to change our pedagogy, we have to look at our subject content, we have to be aware of the new assessment techniques. So we are on the tricky wicket. We have to learn not only what higher education is, but what is going on in schools too. So this is where we have to keep our focus on. As many of you know, we have different types of teacher education courses. We have elementary, diet conducts these courses, elementary teacher education, which is a two-year diploma course after the 12th standard, and you can handle primary sections. You have what is going on around the country, Bachelor of Education courses, which are of 2 years duration in various subjects. Then you have the regional institutes of education run by the ministry, which conducts 4-year integrated programs after 12 years of schooling. And this is one of the finest institutes to do your BSc, B.Ed in or BA, B.Ed in, or whatever, even your post graduation. And again, you have universities like us, Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth and Arunachal University of Studies, which have NCT approved 4-year integrated B.Ed courses. So you have 4 options when you want to do a teacher education course. You do either a diploma or a bachelor of education, or you do it in the RIE, or you do it in other places. So this is a vital statement for all potential teacher trainees who may be in the audience. The NEP 2020 envisions that by 2030, the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be a 4-year integrated course, which means that getting into a BA or a B.Ed, doing a BA, B.Ed of 4 years is more sensible, or a BSc B.Ed is more sensible than doing a BA for 3 years and a B.Ed for 2 years. Because at the end of 2030, you're going to have the 4-year integrated course. Now, till date, the changes that have come with the NEP are: one is the pre-service teacher education curriculum upgradation and the credit transfer system, UGC credit transfer for online courses from 20% to 40%. And the COVID, of course, has triggered the whole thing. We're all very savvy with all these things. Then you have the MOOC courses and edX courses and SWAYAM, etc. And these also, many of the students are opting to do this. They can do it as a value-added course or an add-on course, and it just opens the world to them. Upskilling. So we have to keep in touch with what is going on in the world, especially teacher education. So we should be able to operate from different platforms. We should be able to teach offline, online, hybrid, name it, and we should be able to do that. Then in-service training is for the teacher trainees, for the teachers in service. They will also, a lot of improvements have come in there. Now coming to another thing that NEP stresses is, as you can see, this is the Paralympic. And many of them you will find, one of them is a district magistrate. All of them have gone into normal schooling, and they have done all things that normal people do, which shows that inclusive education has a major role to play in removing the divide between special education and normal education. So it means all learners with or without disabilities are able to learn together in the same schools, in the same settings. So that is a very key thing that the NEP focuses on. Now, how do we promote it in our schools? So this too, you will, as teachers, you will have to think about it. You can have, many schools have it, and you find that one important thing that happens with inclusion in schools is the classmates become more empathetic, they grow emotionally, they are able to help, they are able to see the other side of the coin, as it were. So this makes for emotional maturity in the whole class, acceptance, and also learning to count your blessings. How lucky we are to have everything intact, and how brave these children are to come with all their problems, whatever it may be. So this is what we should think of when we go into schools, inclusive schools, when you have inclusive classrooms. Multilingualism and the power of language. Multilingualism, digital learning and education for sustainable development. These are all keywords. So we have to keep this in mind and do little projects in our own little way, either in our classrooms or as UGC projects or in practice. So this is an example. 2020 winner Ranjit Singh Disale, India, won the global award of 1 million US dollars, which was given by the UNESCO and the Varkey Foundation, I think. Now, the outstanding thing about this gentleman is that he started as a teacher in a Jila Parishad in Maharashtra, and that was a tribal place. It was a tribal hamlet, actually, and the girls there spoke Kannada. But this was in Maharashtra, it was the borderline. So he found that the girls could not, tribal girls were not attending school because they did not know Marathi. He took the trouble to learn Marathi, translated all the textbooks into Kannada, and ensured that each girl child in that tribal village passed the 10th standard examination. And he also used digital tools. He has done a whole lot of other things, individualized programs, and started environmental societies, and he has crossed the borders with India, Pakistan, etc. So the thing is, teachers can open the world, but it needs a caring, it needs a dedication, and it also the general. He was so open. He wanted equity. Girls, these tribals need not be sitting in their huts. They need to come out. They need to learn. So that is why he was given the award. And yesterday's paper has again two more Indian teachers, one from Bhagalpur and one from Hyderabad, have qualified for the 50 out of 8,000 entries. And out of this, one teaches maths and the other one teaches maths and social studies. So I'm waiting for the results. Last year, this gentleman shared his $1 million with the runners up. So that was another great thing. Now, this envisages blending modern knowledge with relevant aspects of ancient knowledge. So NEP 2020 does not want us to lose sight of our cultural heritage, our rich knowledge systems. So it has Sanskrit is one of the key things which has cultural language which has been approved by the government of India, and it envisages encouraging the study of Sanskrit at all levels of schooling as well as in higher education. And we have a very good example in Sardar Patel Vidyalaya in New Delhi, where they are taught Sanskrit right through. And from first, they are taught, and right from first standard to sixth standard, they are Hindi medium. They learn the equivalent words in English. Then from seventh standard, they become English medium. They have the background and they're able to cope. So it's one of the best schools in India, Sardar Patel. Now, this is a topic which is very, very close to my heart. Guruji Chinmayananda's motto has always been giving maximum happiness to maximum number of people for maximum time. And this is what we as teacher educators definitely need to do. So this is a cause very close to my heart. Now, this was launched in Delhi government, the happiness curriculum. And I don't know how many of you are aware, we are among the most unhappy countries in the world. Now, if you look at the happiness index, you'll find the top countries are the Nordic countries. Finland, you have Denmark, you have Netherlands, and you have, what's the other one there? Denmark, Netherlands. This is Scandinavia, Norway. So their education system is such that the child right from ground level, from KG onwards, is trained to be happy. They are contented, they are happy, they know how to adapt. And that is because they have a curriculum in place. So the Delhi government sent their teachers, and the minister himself went there. They drafted the curriculum, and now 1,000 government schools are practicing it. There is a very great change in the attitudes of the students as well as the families to which they belong. And many universities like Lucknow, Mumbai have got a happiness curriculum as an elective in their syllabus, MA education, MEd education. So this is something we should all think about. And finally, getting the cultural roots that we have been talking about. NEP 2020 is very has stressed that IKS should also form a part of our knowledge system. So it should be this we have done through various, we should do it according to the NEP 2020. They have started a lot of centers in the IIT Bombay, one in IIT Kharagpur, and where they do a lot of translations. And Sanskrit is the go-to language for doing this digital translation of our ancient scriptures. Now, the Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth has a portal, Knowledge, Tradition and Practices of India, e-portal. And in this has been developed by Radha Mohan and Gayatri Sankar Narayanan. And in this, both of whom have enormous experience in schools. So any teacher in this audience who is taking IKS can have ready access to this, where you have resources, you have lesson plans, and you know how to go about the whole thing of teaching IKS. So with this, I come to the way ahead. School and university will play a central role in educating new generations. That is all of us. And we hold the key responsibility in addressing this so that we are sure that our children and grandchildren are going to be great citizens. They're going to be global citizens. They will be able to cope with the future, whatever it may hold. So thank you. I look forward to, I'm stopping share, Pramod. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. Fine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Pramod.
Thank you, Radha ma'am, for that informative and amazing session. Yeah, the session covered on various aspects, like focusing on the NEP 2020, of course, including the 5+3+3+4 school education framework, mother tongue as the medium of instruction, learning outcomes, gender sensitivity, importance of soft skills in school education as well as higher education, flexibility of subjects, then 4-year integrated teacher education programs and its relevance, inclusive education, multilingualism, Indian knowledge systems and the importance of Sanskrit, happiness curriculum, etc., etc., etc. And to add a word on happiness curriculum, I know that Radhaji is currently working on a project in happiness curriculum. So that is why she is an expert to refer with aspects regarding to happiness curriculum. Yeah, the talk ended with suggestions on the way forward. So without further discussions, let me open the floor for questions, clarifications. We have a question, 2 questions from Vinay Nair, who is himself an expert in mathematics and education. Shall I ask questions, ma'am?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. Given that many students in the cities who are not strong in their mother tongue, would teaching in mother tongue do justice to them? The second question is also supplementary to this one. Do we have enough teachers who can teach in the mother tongue for the entire population? So how do you deal with it if there is a shortage of supply of teachers instructing in mother tongue?
Yeah, that's a great question, Vinay. There is a shortage of teachers, for example, in maths, teaching in mother tongue in maths. And also there are people, like us who have moved away from our rural roots into urban areas and may not be as fluent in our mother tongues as we should be. So these are questions that are posed. But then the NEP envisions that if the children of today start learning from their mother tongue from now, by the time they come to higher education, they would be fluent in their mother tongue. They would be able, they know the concept, and they would be able to cope. But today's situation is that we are a hybrid lot. We have people who know limited amount of, if you take me, I have limited knowledge of Tamil. I cannot teach maths in Tamil for sure. I'll die with the fright. But then if I had been taught in Tamil right from childhood, perhaps I would have been able to do it. So that is why in the youngsters from our areas, wherever, whichever state we are in, if they learn in the mother tongue or the regional language, supposing you are in Maharashtra, but you are a Tamilian, you learn in Marathi, you should be able to get the concepts right because you are in that place, and you will be able to teach as you go on if you consider living there forever. So that's how it should be. Yes, Vinay, raised hands. Yes. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Radhaji, thank you so much. But I had a continuous question to that. So,
Yeah.
Especially the last part when you said, so somebody who's living in Maharashtra. So, if we take, places like Mumbai, Pune, or many other metropolitan cities,
Yeah.
we have a big labor population as well who have migrated from other states.
Yes.
Right. So most of these students wouldn't know Marathi, wouldn't know, anything apart from their mother tongue. And there are not many schools, or rather almost no schools that can cater to their mother tongue in a place like Maharashtra.
Yeah.
Right. So if somebody coming from Telangana, let us say, they won't be able to. So learning in Marathi is maybe as challenging for them as much as learning in English when it comes to doing that. So
that's true. That's true. This is a demographic problem.
Right.
Which has to be. Yes, because you see, you have the Dharavi slums, no? You find most of the children there are Tamil speaking there. And you find that they do post, many of them, of course, go to those South Indian schools that you have, but not everyone gets admission. So those who go to the local schools learn in Marathi. And if it starts at an early age, it's not going to be so difficult. Because they're going to be playing with Marathi children. The whole culture will be there. They might have lost their roots, as it were, the Tamil culture. But then you will find that they are gelling very well in the thing. That is one of the things, no? Emotional maturity and adaptability.
Right.
So you learn to survive. Survival of the fittest, Vinay.
Thank you, Radhaji.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes. We have one or two raised hands. So let me ask Rajini ma'am to ask the questions. Can you? Yeah, I think I'll unmute. Yeah. Rajini ma'am, can you ask your question?
Sure, thank you.
If possible, can you come on camera as well, if possible?
I'm sorry, I think there is some issue here. I'm outside, so I'm not able to probably unmute. There might be a lot of disturbance at the back, so I'm outside.
Fine. Perfect. Please go ahead.
So basically my question is, I've also heard about integration of subjects like music into engineering. So how can that be integrated into something like a new education policy where we have subjects like music, which can be integrated, because music is also very important as far as mathematics and engineering is concerned. So how can that be integrated? Because I know a couple of them who are keen on music and keen on engineering too. So how does that work out? Is there any policy for that?
I think because of the transfer of credits, not transfer of the multiple, you have choices. As I said, I would have, if I was given a choice today, I'm 72. Supposing I were 18, I would have chosen BSc Physics, Maths. I would definitely not have done chemistry. I would have chosen psychology. And so it would have been that kind of a world. But now today, this child can perhaps choose engineering. He or she can also choose something connected with audio engineering, where you learn about music systems, how to record, how to do things. You can sort of, amalgamate it. So I think that's what they should do.
Yeah, can I add to that, ma'am, if you are finished with that?
So certainly, you can have a bouquet of subjects and choose from that. Yes, Pramod, please go ahead.
Yes, even the IITs are in the process of integrating various humanities subjects as well as arts like music into the system. And we will definitely have a curriculum where you will have inclusion of all these subjects. through the professional courses, even if it's for medical, all these things. And of course, as mentioned in the national education policy, we have something called this academic bank of credits also, where you can gain credits in music. If you are interested in music, you can take a course from other universities over the MOOC platforms and accumulate them as well. So in this way, we can do it from our part, but the curriculum of integrating of art is definitely the way forward in higher education as well. And our institutes are taking steps in that direction. Okay, ma'am. Is it okay, ma'am?
Yeah.
Rajini, ma'am?
Ma'am?
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
Right, fine. Yeah. Now we have our own faculty, Neetu S. Kumar, who has raised hand.
Yes, thank you, sir. Sorry, I was not able to unmute. Thank you. Thanks for answering.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So now we have our own faculty, Neetu S. Kumar, who has raised hand. Neetuji, can you please ask your question?
Thank you, Pramodji, and thank you, Radhaji, for that very informative session. I had a question related to what Vinayji was also asking. So about the use of mother tongue as the medium of instruction. So I'm an English teacher, and I have faced many situations where students from a regional medium of instruction, when they come into higher education, they face a lot of trouble transitioning. Right, they understand concepts in their mother language perhaps, and they're not able to easily understand when the medium of instruction is now shifted to English. Now, if you are going to use mother tongue medium of instruction till grade 5, would the same issue occur there also? Wouldn't the students find it very difficult to do the transition? Wouldn't it be easier to learn the concepts from the beginning itself in a language, considering that when they go out into the world also, they will be asked to interact in that language whenever they talk about these things?
No, I think what happens is we lose touch with our mother tongue. So I think the basic few years should be in mother tongue. And they will have to work harder, of course. Like I said, that Sardar Patel school, they had this problem actually. So by the end of the 12th standard, the students who graduated from that school, from +2, were able to speak Hindi, English. They knew one other Indian language, Bengali or Urdu or Tamil, and they also had access to foreign languages. So I think it depends on the teaching. If you are giving, like Neetu, I know how much of communication you do, how you train your students. So I'm sure with that kind of thing happening in schools, they should be able to come to higher education with a certain amount of knowledge of English. It's because the schooling is not okay. You're studying in Tamil medium, say, right till the 12th, and then you land up in a place where it is fully in English medium, you are not able to cope. So it takes one semester for them to get their bearing, as it were. So if instead we had a system wherein they were in Tamil medium till 5th standard or 12th standard, but parallel they learned English also, then they would be able to cope. So we'll have to have a system like that, a parallel system.
Right, ma'am, I agree with you there. It's just that the challenges are twofold, right? One is knowing the language itself and knowing the subject in that language. Yes. So we'll just have to figure out.
No, knowing the subject is definitely better when they learn in their mother tongue. There's no doubt about that. Because I have had so many students, and even now you see all the people, even from Kerala itself, the new apps that are every day you see a new app. You will find 3 youngsters who have studied in Malayalam medium come out with an app which is nationally accepted, which means they know their concepts well. How else could they have devised the app? Right. So I think they definitely, the mother tongue makes a difference, for sure.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Pramodji, for the opportunity.
I hope I answered partially at least.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, right. Now we have, I think, Professor C.V. Rao, who has a question. Rao, sir, can you just...
Right. Thank you very much. Congratulations, madam. Your presentation was simply highly systematic, as systematic as NEP 2020 with all its elements.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I have 2-3 questions. One is it possible to have a copy of your PPT? That's one.
Okay.
Second is, many institutions including my own issue, ask for NEP 2020 has lots of elements, ABC and liberal arts, multidisciplinary. Is there any plan how exactly where to start, how to go about it, integrating all these things? So much of things are there. How do we make a roadmap linking all these things to start implementation in a college or a school or any professional institution? So I would like to have your guidance on that. The last one is you were talking of Tattvam Center. What is the uniqueness of the Tattvam Center? I wanted to know.
Tattva Learning Center, is it?
Right.
Yeah, that is a fantastic center, sir. That has children who have dropped out of school.
Okay.
And they come in and they are in the national open schooling. So
Okay.
they are teachers who guide them for that. And since they're also working, you see, so they are able to come only at off times, not in the regular system. Then you have children who are special children in the sense that they may have hearing impaired, or they may be visually impaired, or they may have other physical things for which the school has arrangements for children like this. And these are put into inclusive classrooms. So this way, what happens is the other children, normal children who are doing the other curriculum, they learn to accept this. They help out these children. So that is how they develop empathy. They learn to care. Now, if you look around, sir, I'm not talking about any particular school or person, you find there is a total lack of sympathy. There is not much empathy or emotional intelligence in children who come out of schools today. They want to come first. Parents are worse. Parents want their child to get into a medical college or to do something else that they wanted to do when they were young. So it is this kind of thing, inclusiveness that Tattva has. It brings empathy, it brings a lot of caring, and it allows a child to blossom in the area in which he will blossom, not in what someone else wanted him to do. So that is it. Are you in Kerala, sir?
No, I am in Nagpur. I am
Okay.
a ex-chief scientist of National Environmental Engineering Institute. I am closely connected with several education institutions, but I visited this Chinmaya Vishwavidyapit a couple of times and
Welcome,
had
sir.
discussions
Come
for
again.
a long
Please
time
come
on
again.
almost this kind of thing.
Yeah, but this Tattva learning is very good, sir. Next time you come to Kerala, do visit us and this Tattva learning too.
Do they have any website of Tattva Learning?
Yeah, they do. I'll send it to you, sir.
And my important question is there any action plan model for implementation?
They're working on it. And I think it is left to each one of us to work on it. Like, for example, in our university, I can take only what I know. We are actually working on it. We have transfer of credit. We have flexibility. We have Seva community service going on. We have this IKS portal. Sanskrit is one of the key things over here. We are doing most of the things that the NEP has 2020, and we started before the NEP 2020. So that's a great part of us.
Will it be possible to have a PPT copy of yours?
Yeah, certainly, sir. I think Pramod,
if there is no objection,
it's on YouTube, I think.
Yeah, it is on all YouTube. And other than that, sir, if you have any other further clarifications, you can just send in a mail to webinars@cvv.ac.in. I'll put it in the chat box also. Towards the end of the session, I will put the email in the chat box. It is webinars@cvv.ac.in. So we can continue with our discussions.
Both of you are from Chinmaya Vishwavidyapit? Or
Yes, sir, he's my colleague.
Professor and she is my professor. Radha ji is my professor. Okay. Because I visited, I met many people. I don't remember. I had attended Independence Day celebrations and then had lunch in your canteen too, along with all this stuff.
Thank you, sir, for joining in and sharing your wisdom. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
So, hope to keep in touch with you, sir.
Namaskar to all the participants. I just had a point to add related to the regional language local language education, I thought that what madam said is very relevant, because I've seen my own elder people who have learned in their own regional language. They have their concepts intact, and they are able to teach our children better than us. So, and the other point which I feel is like the accessibility to education is better when it is in regional language than in English, because a lot of parents, they panic thinking that the education is going to be in English and do not put the kids into the stream of education at all. So that will be the first catch. And then maybe the remaining everything madam has already told. So these are the 2 points I just wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have 1 or 2 questions in the chat box. One is from Indu ma'am. She has asked, if it's an integrated teacher education of 4 years, will it be like 3 years of degree and 1 year of B.Ed? And are such courses recognized or by the governments?
Pramod, you can answer that.
Should I? Okay,
yeah,
fine.
You do that.
Right. So 4-year integrated B.Ed program doesn't mean 3 year of degree and 1 year of teacher education, but it means parallelly you have 4 years of learning your subject. Here we have BA B.Ed and BSc B.Ed, BA B.Ed for English and BSc B.Ed for mathematics. So our students will be learning BA and BSc for 4 years. Parallelly, they will be learning teacher education courses for 4 years. So we are having parallelly running 2 different programs synthesized into one. So it's like a holistic development where you get 4 years to get the subject and 4 years to develop competency in teaching and learning. And coming to the second part, since it is we have paucity of time, I could not explain more and more. So I'll coming to the second part of what Indu ma'am has asked. Is it recognized? Of course, because since this is a recommendation by the National Education Policy, it is recognized and taken all across the country, all across the nation, and all the state boards have recognized. If you take the case of Kerala, we already have, Kerala state has already recognized. So I think I have answered Indu ma'am's question. Dr. Asha, I think you had a question. Can you ask that question directly? Yeah. Dr. Asha, can you ask the question directly? Yeah.
Yes. Radha ma'am, thank you and congratulations for the systematic presentation.
Asha,
I'm proud to be here.
So happy you made it.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah. I have a question, ma'am. How can we incorporate happiness curriculum in higher secondary school students in this scenario, present scenario of online learning systems?
That's a tough question, Asha. We'll have to happiness in online learning. I have to think about it. I think we'll have to have a lot of activities, actually. We'll have to have a lot of activities and, learn how to use the digital platform more creatively. The other day, I attended a session which Pramod took, actually. It was what was it? It was an ice-breaking session. And we used ice-breaking, we used to seeing people face to face. But then he did a wonderful thing. He used the students were all over, the first year students, and he was able to get such quick responses from them. They were so happy, actually, the interaction and, quickly do it, do that, do this, do that. And that's what we have to think about it. We have to be creative.
Okay, let us keep in touch.
Yeah.
Because that's okay. Proud to be a student, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy.
I think we have exceeded the time.
Yeah,
so we are getting lots and lots of questions. So kindly, those questions that are not answered, kindly send your questions and queries to at our email. I will type it once again in the chat box: webinars@cvv.ac.in. So our resource person will answer it for you. Right. So let me come to the concluding part of this particular session. Right. I'll take it a bit more formally now. On behalf of Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth, I wholeheartedly thank Professor Radha ma'am for her amazing and illustrative presentation, as well as excellent clarifications and answering of queries. I also thank all the participants who have participated in this program, and especially those who have interacted directly. We are happy to have you here for this event, and we expect your participation in the subsequent events organized by Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth. If you have any queries, suggestions, or feedback, you can send us your suggestions, queries, and feedback on whatever it may be to the email that we have mentioned, that is webinars@cvv.ac.in. If you have any queries regarding admissions, you can directly send an email. You can just click on apply.cvv.ac.in. Our website is CVV for Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth.ac.in. So that's all we have for today. Thank you. Hari.